forward, I think sleep is another aspect that is a big contributor to mental health issues, especially in young adults as well as adults having busy lives and very busy schedules and just not making enough time for sleep. Um, and why is adequate sleep for someone our age so important?
Yeah, sleep's been a huge new focus in the last, I would say, 5 years from the NCAA. There's just such a growing awareness of how much it affects us. You could do a whole separate hour talk on sleep and what it means for athletes. And to be clear, pro athletes know this. If you really look at the patterns of professional athletes, they recognize very quickly how much this affects them. There's been a huge increase in these Whoop devices that people are wearing around their wrist that tracks their sleep and function. And one of the things that first came out from people really tracking that is that they noticed that even if they had a little bit of alcohol, that how much that affected their sleep in a huge way. So then now these athletes aren't really using alcohol anymore, not because they were before going out and getting drunk or crazy. They just realized, hey, this is affecting my sleep, which affects my performance. If you look at some of the statistics that the NCAA is looking at, so number one, again, like from pros down, LeBron, I don't know if it's true, but LeBron says that he sleeps 12 hours a night. That's a focus for him. I don't know that anybody else can. I can't sleep for 12 hours a night. But I do think that there's been really clear studies. Stanford did a study on their athletes, on their basketball players, and basically on average, they were getting 6.5 hours of sleep per night before they started looking at this study. And then they changed things around and really made it a focus. And then on average, their athletes were getting 8.5 hours per sleep. In that time, when they started looking at the numbers again, without making other changes, free throw shooting percentage went up 11%, 3-point percentage went up 14%, and their track athletes, their sprint time was 4% faster. It's like this huge change in performance of somebody who's well rested. And part of the problem with the college lifestyle is this idea of like catch up, right? This idea of like, no, if I can just, I'm not going to sleep much this time, but I'll sleep more tomorrow. It's not a thing. You can't make up sleep. So it has to be a consistent effort. If you look at incoming college athletes, there was another thing that looked at first year collegiate athletes and looked at what are the risk factors that made them withdraw from school. And so marijuana use, binge drinking, learning disabilities are all things that made freshmen collegiate athletes struggle in school, but none of them on their own increased the risk that they withdrew. But sleep did. So sleep was a bigger factor. If they had true sleep disorder or sleep dysfunction, they were more likely to withdraw from school, more so than drug and alcohol abuse, more so than learning disabilities. And then it adds into everything else that we were talking about. So anxiety and depression are super linked with sleep, and that's been proven. They showed that if you have sleep deprivation or a diagnosed sleep disorder, you are 10 times more likely to screen positive for anxiety or depression. So it's not that they're totally linked, but the symptoms are overlapping in a huge way. And so I think that the biggest thing is that there has to be a recognition by college athletes that they have to really work hard at this, that it has to be in the same way that they work hard at practice, the same way they work hard at school, the same way they work hard for anything else. There has to be a plan, and you have to be willing to make some sacrifices for this. And so we talk about sleep hygiene all the time. And I think this is one of the hardest things for athletes to really have a sense of control over, because some of it they don't. But sleep hygiene means this. It means that you prepare yourself for sleep appropriately. And one of the things we talk about is using the bed only for bed, which seems like a super foreign concept, right? Most college students use their bed as a place to watch TV, a place to do their homework. They sit on their laptop. They sit and do, it's a hangout spot because their space is limited. But in reality, if you teach your body day in and day out that bed is for whatever, then that bed is for whatever. Your brain is not going to know when you lay down in bed that it's supposed to go to sleep. You have to train it to do it. There should be a consistent thing that you do every night before you go to bed. You take a shower, you take a bath, you read, you do something that's not screen-based that tells your body, if you train your body to do it, it tells your body, oh, I think it's time for bed. right? Like you can train your body to recognize that I'm in the place and we've done the things that mean that I'm going to sleep. So now it's time for sleep. And so you can get white noise machines or blackout curtains and, keep the room cool. The, ideal sleep is at about like 65 degrees. So you can do these things to try and make things better. But the key is you just got to dedicate yourself. You have to make it you have to have a plan to allow yourself to sleep well.
I think you make great note of it. And I think for something that has affected me personally, and I know has probably affected other people, beyond that sleep schedule, for those who may have trouble staying asleep at night, maybe waking up in the middle of the night, are there any tactics that a student could use to possibly go back to sleep or just get their rest?
Yeah. So one is that if you're really limited with daytime or with nighttime sleep, there's some benefit to napping as long as you have good control over it. So like if you're really sleep deprived and it's affecting you throughout the day, you can take short naps, but you often think about something in between like the 15 to 30 minute range. Anything more, it's likely to throw off your patterns. Try and get sleep patterns that are similar weekend and weekday, right? So if you say, no, I'm pretty good Sunday through Thursday, but then Friday through Saturday, I'm getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night because I'm up super late and then up early. You're not going to catch up on that. You're going to be persistently behind. So I think you have to make it as much of a consistent pattern. And I recognize how difficult that is, but as much as of a consistent pattern. And then it's hard to convince people to be off their screens for a half an hour before bedtime. And so if you can replace that, one with non-screen things, or do some, and this will be sort of effective for all of the anxiety, depression, and sleep aspects, use the screen for good. So there are apps like the Calm app or Buddhify or these other apps that you can get that are essentially like meditation apps. And if you said, no, every night before I go to sleep, I'm going to put in my headphones and I'm going to do some form of audio meditation, it'll help you calm down and help you get ready for sleep. And again, if you get on this pattern of doing it, then more and more, you almost need that less because your body knows that it's time.